The dust on Kepler's edge tastes like copper and regret. I've been chasing ghosts across 3 systems for the better part of 2 months, and this godforsaken rock at the rim of civilized space feels like the end of everything, which, knowing my luck, it probably is. My name's Marcus Cain, and I hunt people for a living. Not proud of it, but pride's a luxury you can't afford when you're trying to keep your ship fueled and your belly full. The bounty board at Meridian Station had her listed as Elena Vasquez, wanted for aggravated assault on neural pathways, unlawful mind tampering, and about a dozen other charges that made my skin crawl. The payout was enough to keep me flying for a year, maybe 2 if I was careful. What the bounty board didn't mention was that every settlement she touched had gone silent within a week of her visit. I lean against the hull of my ship, the Penitent, and watch the sun set over the mining colony of Dust Creek. Population 400 and change, according to the last census. The kind of place where people come to disappear, to start over, or to die quietly where nobody gives a damn. Perfect hunting ground for someone like Vasquez, and perfect cover for someone like me. The locals eye me with a particular brand of suspicion reserved for strangers carrying iron. My duster hangs open just enough to show the plasma pistol on my hip. Not a threat, exactly, but a reminder that I'm not here to buy supplies or make friends. The sheriff, a weathered woman named Torres, had given me the standard speech about jurisdiction and proper procedure. I'd listened politely, showed her my license, and promised to keep things clean. We both knew I was lying. "You're the hunter," says a voice behind me. I turn to find a kid, maybe 16, all elbows and nervous energy. His clothes are patched and repatched, but clean. Working poor, not vagrant poor. "You're after the memory thief." I study his face. Fear there, but something else too. Hope, maybe. "You know something about her?" He glances around, making sure we're alone. The main street of Dust Creek is emptying as the sun disappears behind the canyon walls. Soon it'll be just me, the wind, and whatever passes for nightlife in a place like this. "She came through 3 days ago," he says. "Stayed at the boarding house. Kept to herself mostly, but..." He trails off, chewing his lip. "But my sister works there. Cleaning rooms, serving meals. She said the woman was always writing in this little book, not paper, one of those fancy neural tablets. And she kept asking questions about the miners. Who worked the deep shafts, who'd been here longest. I fish a credit chip from my pocket and flip it to him. "Your sister still at the boarding house?" He pockets the chip smooth as silk. "Nah, she left yesterday morning. Took the transport to New Galveston with about 30 others. Said she needed to visit our aunt, but..." He shrugs. "We don't have an aunt." The pieces start falling into place, and I don't like the picture they're making. 30 people leaving town the day after Vasquez moves on. Either she spooked them, or they were running from something else entirely. Anyone else leave recently? Maybe 50, 60 people over the past week. Sheriff Torres is getting nervous. Says it's just folks looking for better work, but... He glances toward the mine entrance, a black mouth carved into the canyon wall. The deep crews have been acting strange. Real strange. I follow his gaze. Even from here, I can see the glow of work lights deep in the tunnel. 3rd shift would be starting soon. The dangerous shift, when tired miners made mistakes that could bring a mountain down on their heads. Strange how. They don't talk anymore. Used to be you couldn't shut them up, complaining about quotas, telling stories, arguing about sports scores from the inner worlds. Now they just work. And they all move the same way, like they're dancing to music nobody else can hear. A chill runs down my spine that has nothing to do with the desert night air. I've seen neural tampering before. Crude stuff, usually. Criminals trying to erase evidence of their crimes, or desperate people selling their memories to pay debts. But what the kid's describing sounds like something else entirely. What's your name, son? Tommy Reeves. Well, Tommy Reeves, you just earned yourself another credit chip. I toss him a second one. Now get home and stay there, and if you see me again before morning, you run the other way, understand? He nods and disappears into the shadows between buildings, moving with the practiced silence of someone who's learned to be invisible. Smart kid. I hope he stays that way. The boarding house squats on the corner of Main and Prospect, like a tired old dog. 3 stories of weathered wood and broken promises, with a sign that optimistically advertises clean rooms and hot meals. I push through the front door and find myself in a lobby that smells of boiled cabbage and industrial disinfectant. The clerk behind the desk looks up from his ledger. He's got the soft, pale look of someone who's never worked a day in the sun, and his eyes hold the particular wariness of a man who's seen too much and said too little. Help you. I slide my license across the counter. Bounty hunter. Looking for information about a woman who stayed here recently. Elena Vasquez. He studies the license like it might bite him, then looks back at me. Don't know the name. About my height, dark hair, early 30s. Would have checked in 3, maybe 4 days ago. We get a lot of travelers. I place a credit chip next to the license. His eyes flick to it, then back to my face. Room 12, he says, palming the chip. Paid her a week, but only stayed 2 nights. Left her key on the desk and walked out without a word. She have any visitors? Make any calls? Kept to herself, but he hesitates. I put another chip on the counter. She asked about the mine. Wanted to know about the deep shafts, how long they'd been worked, if there'd been any accidents recently. Said she was a safety inspector from the Colonial Authority. Was she? He shrugs. Paperwork looked official, but then good paperwork always does. I pocket my license and head for the stairs. Room 12 still empty, far as I know, but I wouldn't go up there if I were you. I pause with my foot on the first step. Why not? Because the last 3 people who went into that room came out different, and not in a good way. The stairs creak under my boots as I climb. The hallway on the 2nd floor is narrow and dim, lit by flickering glow strips that cast everything in sickly yellow light. Room 12 is at the end, its door slightly ajar. I draw my pistol and push the door open with my boot. The room is empty, but it doesn't feel empty. There's a presence here, like the echo of a scream in a canyon. The bed is neatly made, the wash basin clean. No sign that anyone ever lived here, except for the smell. Ozone and copper, like the air after a lightning strike. I'm about to leave when I spot it. A small device plugged into the room's neural access port. It's about the size of a playing card, matte black with no visible markings. When I reach for it, my fingers tingle with static electricity. The moment I touch it, the world explodes into light and sound and impossible colors. I'm falling through space and time, watching stars die and be born again, feeling the weight of centuries pressing down on my skull like a mountain. And through it all, a voice, not heard but felt, speaking in a language that predates human speech. We are the hunger that devours thought. We are the silence that follows the last word. We are coming. I yank my hand back, and the vision stops, leaving me gasping on the floor of a cheap hotel room. The device is gone. Not destroyed, just gone, like it was never there at all. But the memory remains, burned into my brain like a brand. I stumble down the stairs and out into the night air, my head spinning. The clerk watches me go with the expression of someone who's seen this before. Outside, the street is empty, except for a drunk miner weaving his way home from the saloon. Or at least, I think he's drunk until I get a closer look. He's moving in perfect synchronization with something. His steps measured, his head tilted at precisely the same angle with each stride. And his eyes are the flat black of deep space, reflecting the starlight like mirrors. I follow him at a distance, my hand resting on my pistol grip. He turns down a side street, then another, heading toward the mine entrance. Other figures emerge from doorways and alleys, men and women of all ages, all moving with that same eerie precision. They converge on the mine like iron filings drawn to a magnet. I count maybe 40 people in the procession, all walking in perfect silence. They disappear into the tunnel mouth, swallowed by the darkness. I wait 5 minutes, then follow. The mine shaft slopes down into the earth at a gentle angle, supported by steel beams and lit by work lights strung along the ceiling. The air smells of rock dust and machine oil, with an underlying sweetness that makes my stomach turn. My boots echo in the tunnel, despite my efforts to move quietly. After what feels like an hour of walking, I see light ahead. Not the harsh white of work lights, but something softer, more organic. I kill my flashlight and creep forward. The tunnel opens into a vast cavern, and what I see there will haunt me until the day I die. The miners stand in perfect rows, their faces turned upward towards something that hangs from the cavern ceiling like a massive spider web. But it's not made of silk. It's made of light and shadow and something that hurts to look at directly. Neural pathways, I realize. A vast network of living thought, pulsing with alien intelligence. And suspended in the center of the web is Elena Vasquez. She's conscious, her eyes wide with terror and determination. Cables of living light connect her skull to the network, and I can see her fighting against whatever's trying to push its way into her mind. Her lips move in a constant stream of words I can't hear from this distance. The miners begin to chant in unison, their voices creating harmonics that make my teeth ache. The web pulses brighter with each syllable, and I realize what I'm seeing. They're not just infected by whatever this thing is. They're feeding it. Their thoughts, their memories, their very souls are being drained to power this abomination. And Elena Vasquez isn't the perpetrator. She's the only thing standing between this thing and the rest of human space. I key my comm unit, hoping to reach the penitent's emergency beacon, but there's nothing but static. The alien presence is jamming all frequencies, cutting us off from the outside world. Whatever happens here, we're on our own. I study the cavern, looking for options. The web extends from floor to ceiling, supported by organic-looking pillars that pulse with bioluminescent patterns. If I could bring down one of those supports, my plasma pistol won't do much against something that size, but the mining charges stored near the entrance might. The question is whether I can get to them and back before the miners notice me. I'm about to retreat when Elena's voice cuts through the chanting, clear as a bell despite the distance. I know you're there, Hunter. If you're going to help me, now would be good. Every head in the cavern turns toward my hiding place. 40 pairs of black, empty eyes lock onto mine, and I feel the alien presence pressing against my thoughts like cold fingers probing a wound. Join us, it whispers inside my skull. Add your voice to the song. Help us spread across the stars. I grit my teeth and push back against the mental intrusion. Not today, you son of a bitch. The miners move as one, flowing toward me like a tide of flesh and bone. I draw my pistol and fire, the plasma bolt catching the nearest one in the chest. He drops, but the others don't even slow down. I run. The tunnel seems longer on the way out, my boots slipping on loose gravel as I sprint toward the entrance. Behind me, I can hear the miners giving chase, not running, but moving with that same eerie coordination, their footsteps creating a rhythm that makes my head pound. The storage area is just inside the mine entrance, protected by a flimsy lock that my pistol makes short work of. I grab an armload of mining charges and a detonator, then pause as a terrible thought occurs to me. If I bring down this tunnel, I'll trap Elena inside with that thing. But if I don't, that alien intelligence will spread beyond Kepler's edge. It'll hop from mind to mind, system to system, until every human in the galaxy is dancing to its tune. I think of Tommy Reeves and his sister, of all the people who fled this place, when their instincts told them something was wrong. They deserve a chance to stay human. I set the charges. The miners reach the entrance just as I finish the last connection. They stop at the threshold, their empty eyes reflecting my flashlight beam. For a moment, I think they won't follow me outside, that whatever is controlling them can't leave the cavern. Then they step into the starlight, and I know I'm wrong. I back away from the mine entrance, my finger on the detonator trigger. That's far enough. They keep coming. I'm warning you. One of them speaks, and the voice that comes out is Elena's, distorted by alien harmonics. You don't understand, Hunter. We're not the enemy here. We're trying to save you. Funny way of showing it. The code isn't ours. We found it buried in the deep mines, dormant for millions of years. When the miners broke through into the old chambers, they woke it up. It spread through their neural implants, their comm systems, their very thoughts. I keep backing away, but my finger hesitates on the trigger. So you decided to steal their memories? We're not stealing. We're editing. Cutting out the infected portions before the code can replicate further. Every mind we cleanse is one less vector for the infection. The miners have formed a circle around me now, their movements perfectly synchronized. I can feel the alien presence pressing against my thoughts again, stronger this time. Then why are they still infected? Because we're not strong enough. The code adapts, evolves, finds new pathways faster than we can close them. We need more processing power, more minds to work with. So you'll sacrifice everyone on this planet to stop something that might spread? To stop something that will spread. You've seen what it does, Hunter. How it turns people into extensions of itself. In 6 months, it'll reach the core worlds. In a year, humanity as we know it will cease to exist. I think of the vision I experienced in the hotel room, the hunger that devours thought, the silence that follows the last word. Whatever this thing is, It's older than human civilization and utterly hostile to everything we are. But that doesn't make Elena's solution right. There has to be another way. There is. The voice comes from directly behind me, and I spin to find Elena herself standing at the mine entrance. Not the infected miners, but the real Elena Vasquez, her face streaked with blood and her eyes burning with desperate hope. "The detonator," she says. "Give it to me." I look back and forth between her and the miners. They've stopped moving, frozen in place like broken dolls. "How do I know you're really you?" She smiles, and it's the first human expression I've seen since entering this nightmare. "Because I'm asking instead of taking. The code doesn't understand consent. It just consumes, but we still have a choice." I toss her the detonator. She catches it one-handed and looks down at the device. I've been fighting this thing for 3 days, trying to find a way to contain it without destroying everyone it's touched. But there isn't one. The only way to stop the spread is to cut it off at the source. What about the people? The miners? They're already gone. What's left are just echoes, neural patterns playing back like recordings. The real them died when the code overwrote their personalities. She looks up at me, and I see tears in her eyes. I've been talking to ghosts. The miners begin to move again, closing in on us with renewed purpose. Elena raises the detonator. "This won't just collapse the tunnel," she says. "The charges are placed to bring down the whole cavern system. Everything dies. The code, the infected, and probably us too. Probably. The blast will seal the main shaft, but there are service tunnels that might survive. If we're fast and lucky, we might make it out." I draw my pistol and put my back to hers as the miners close in. "Then we better be both." She triggers the detonator. The world becomes thunder and falling stone. The mine entrance collapses in a cascade of rock and steel, cutting off the alien light from below. The miners stop mid-stride. Their puppet strings cut and topple to the ground like broken toys. We run through the chaos, dodging falling debris as the ground shakes beneath our feet. A service tunnel mouth appears in the canyon wall, barely wide enough for a person to squeeze through. Elena dives in first, and I follow, my ears ringing from the explosions. The tunnel is a nightmare of sharp rocks and choking dust, but it leads away from the mine and toward the surface. We crawl for what feels like hours, our hands bloody and our clothes torn, until finally we see starlight ahead. We emerge on a ridge overlooking Dust Creek, just in time to watch the last of the mine complex collapse into the earth. The town below is dark and silent. No lights in the windows. No movement in the streets. "They're not dead," Elena says, reading my expression. "The ones who left, anyway. The code never fully integrated with their neural patterns. They'll have gaps in their memory, maybe some disorientation, but they'll recover." "And the ones who stayed?" She doesn't answer, but she doesn't need to. We both know. We sit in silence for a while, watching the dust settle over what used to be the biggest mining operation on Kepler's Edge. In the distance, I can see lights moving. Search and rescue teams, probably, coming to investigate the explosions. "So what now?" I ask. Elena pulls out a small device, the same type I'd seen in the hotel room, but this one is clean white instead of matte black. Now I finish the job. There are other sites, other places where the code might have spread. I need to find them before it adapts to what we did here. The bounty on your head. We'll have to wait. There are more important things than money, Hunter. I think about that for a moment. About Tommy Reeves and his sister. About all the people who trusted their instincts and ran when something felt wrong. About the choice between doing what's legal and doing what's right. I key my comm unit and send a coded message to the penitent. My ship has medical supplies and a clean neural scanner. If you're going to hunt this thing across the galaxy, you'll need both. She looks at me with surprise. You're giving up the bounty? I'm changing careers. Turns out there are worse things to hunt than people. The rescue teams are getting closer now, their lights sweeping across the canyon floor. Soon they'll find us, and there will be questions we can't answer and reports we can't file. But for now, we sit on a ridge under alien stars and plan our next move in a war most people don't even know is being fought. My name is Marcus Cain, and I used to hunt people for a living. Now I hunt the things that hunt people, and God help me, I think I'm going to be good at it.